Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. You see the thumbnail. I couldn't wait to do this video. I could not wait to do this video. I've been telling you guys for some time now, for at least 2 weeks now, since the draft has happened, that I've been trying to curb my enthusiasm. I wanted to find ways to calm myself down from getting too excited about this New York Giants team in the 2025 season. And with the official schedule leak for the first game of the season, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys, that's how they're going to open up the 2025 season on Thursday Night Football. Eagles versus Cowboys, NFC East rivalry. I started thinking about, most likely, maybe we get the Washington Commanders on Sunday night or either on Monday night. It makes a lot of sense to me with the changes that the New York Giants have made, the switch at quarterback, all the additions on defense. That should be a good enough matchup that, a lot of people, a lot of football fans might be interested in. But, let me slow down. Let me get back to what this video is about. Again, you see the thumbnail. I can't wait to see this defense on the field, and just doing some comparisons of where the New York Giants were or how we ended our 2024 season, and then with all the changes that were made, free agency and during the draft. What could this New York Giants defense be in 2025? Let's just say that Shane Bowen creates a scheme that works for the roster, works for the personnel that he has. We're firing at all cylinders and things are looking fantastic. Let's just imagine that world. Pray for that world, right? I want to rewind, right? I want to just, like, some people are not as excited. Some people don't want to get excited. Some people are too scared to be excited for this team. But I just want to give you guys a quick trip, take you on a quick trip down memory lane of the 2024 season and start throwing up some of these stats. Let's get into this. Actually, before we get into this, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you are a New York Giants fan, like I'm a New York Giants fan, you're going to want to be a part of this channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, and share. The 2024 defensive rankings are as follows. Let me throw the stats up. So we were 24th overall. 20th in points per game at about 24.5 points a game, 24.4 points a game. How many games are you really winning if you're giving up 24 points a game? Not many. Unless you're the Cincinnati Bengals and you're just in shootouts week after week after week. You're not winning many games giving up 24 points a game. Now, looking at total yards per game, we were 23rd. We gave up almost 350 yards a game. We were 27th in rushing yards per game, giving up 136 yards a game. And then I look at the passing yards, like, okay, we were 8th in passing yards per game, giving up 210 yards in the passing game. So you got all this bad, right? You got all this bad total yards per game, points per game, giving up the rushing yards per game. And then you look at the passing defense, and the passing defense was top 10. We ranked 8th in passing defense. But the funny thing is, when they decided to get rid of a coach, they got rid of who? The secondary coach. But meanwhile, our pass defense, was pretty much the bright spot when it came to the New York Giants. And who was on a bright spot? Who were parts of the bright spot? Tyler Nubin, Andrew Phillips. Those were parts of the bright spot. Yes, we had some pass rush guys were getting to the ball. Fantastic. But again, in that secondary, everybody wanted to highlight how well Andrew Phillips was playing when he was healthy and when he was playing. And same thing goes for Tyler Nubin. But we ended up getting rid of the secondary coach, the guy responsible for their growth. But I digress. We're not going to talk about that. Throwing up the next stats, though. Throwing up the next part of the stats. So as far as interceptions go, we were ranked 31st in interceptions. We had 5 total interceptions. There's players on teams that had 5 interceptions themselves, and we only had 5 interceptions as a team. That is a no-go. That is no bueno. That is not good. There's no way that you can turn things around without being able to turn over the ball. The Giants did address that in free agency, but we'll get back to that in just a moment. We were 19th on third down conversions, pretty much 40% of the time where we were on third down, we were giving up the first down. We were 16th in fourth down conversion, 57%. So more than half of the time that a team went forward on fourth down, they got it. But also half of the time we were able to stop them. We gave up 5.6 yards a play. So I'm not a math professor, but if you're giving up 5.6 yards per play, that means every 2 downs is a first down. You can't survive in a world like that. And what that consists of is a 4.6 yards per rush and a 7.7 yards per pass. So we were giving up 4.6, almost 5 yards per carry. And again, what was the biggest problem area for the New York Giants? This defense was being able to stop the run. Giving up almost 5 yards a carry is not acceptable. Joe Schoen saw that and decided to bring some guys in here that can stop the run, or that I should say can help stop the run. Now, passing play, 7.7 yards per pass, I think that's around average when it comes to giving up per pass play. So that is what it is. But again, the main issue for the New York Giants defense was being able to stop the run. Now, you got to have all these pass rushers. That's fine. Having pass rushers, having a rotation of pass rushers, all that is fine. You want to have stuff like that. I'm not going to go against that. But we all know everybody that knows football, that really knows football, knows that it starts with being able to stop the run on defense. It does not matter how many fantastic edge rushers you have if you cannot stop the run. What are your edge rushers going to do on third and short? You got to be able to stop the run. So now that we got these numbers out of the way, these numbers from 2024, let's just talk about, some of these key additions, right? So we weren't getting a lot of interceptions, only 5 total interceptions. What did Joe Schoen go and do? He went and got Paulson Adebo, and he went and got Javon Holland. We lost Jason Pinnock. Obviously, it was musical chairs when it came to the cornerback spot. Tay Banks was our default CB1. Now he's going back to the CB2 position. But let's talk about Paulson Adebo, right? Paulson Adebo, actually, let's talk about both these guys, but I'm going to talk about Paulson Adebo first. So Paulson Adebo, one of our biggest, additions when it comes to this defense. Cornerback from the New Orleans Saints, missed 10 games in 2024. 10 games he missed in 2024. The New York Giants are hoping that he comes back from his leg injury. Again, I believe it was a broken leg, fractured leg. He had videos. He's doing backflips. He's good to go, right? They're hoping that he gets back to that 2023 form. In 2023 form, he had an overall grade of 78.6. Overall grade of 78.6, all right? In 2024, again, he missed 10 games. He had a 65.3. So the New York Giants are banking that this guy is fully healthy now and able to get back to what he was in 2023. A guy that can turn over the ball, can get those interceptions. He does take some risk. But again, that's why he has the interception counts that he had. Even last year, even though he missed 10 games, he still had 3 interceptions. That's more than half of the interceptions that the New York Giants got as a team last year. He did that in 7 games? So I'm really loving it. When I think about the addition of Javon Holland, another guy who is looking for one of those bounce back seasons. In 2024, he was a 63. He had a 63 overall grade. Also dealt with some injuries. When you look back at his 2023 campaign, his overall grade was a 90.4. So right now, the New York Giants are banking on a cornerback that was pretty much progressing and hovering around the 80 overall grade. And then also Javon Holland, who in 2023 had a 90 overall grade. We're hoping that these guys can get back to form. And I think that's why we got such good deals with these guys, because they're coming off an injury. They're coming off a down year. And you know what? Joe Schoen took advantage of that and got these guys, on the roster. And the best thing about these guys, they're still young players. They're still guys that can be around here for a while. Fantastic move. What did you need? You need more interceptions. What did you do? You got a guy that can get interceptions, and you got a safety that can play deep and also play into the box. and you can add him on to Tyler. You can add him to Tyler Nubin as far as, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. These guys could be recognized as one of the top 5 safety duos in the league. Is it kind of far-fetched? It might be a little bit far-fetched, but Javon Holland at a 90 in 2023, and we saw what Tyler Nubin can do just in the role that he had last year. We haven't even scratched the surface when it comes to Tyler Nubin. He was a ball hawk in college. We haven't even scratched the surface. So if you got 2 guys that can be ball hawks at safety, also they're interchangeable, they can be versatile in your scheme, you can get creative with that. Again, Shane Bowen. Shane Bowen is the glue to all this situation. He's the thing that needs to hold everything together. And hopefully, he can do that. So those key additions, Paulson Adebo and also Javon Holland. The other key addition I want to talk about, and again, there's a lot of key additions, but I'm not going to talk about everybody, but I want to get to some of these guys. Chauncey Golston from the Cowboys. Now, the biggest thing about Chauncey Golston is, where is he going to play exactly? Is he going to be a stand-up edge? Is he going to be, on the line as a DN? I'm hoping that he ends up on the line with his hand in the dirt as a DN. I think that better suits him, especially with what kind of rotation we're going to have at the edge spot. But I don't just want to pigeonhole him to that. He does have a capability to be able to stand up on the edge. But for me and what the New York Giants need right now, I'm looking at Golston as that DN. So if I got Dexter Lawrence as the nose tackle, I got Chauncey Golston as a defensive end, and then the other defensive tackle I have is Darius Alexander. I'm liking what I'm doing. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking the opportunities that you're giving, this defense to go out there and make plays against the run. Darius Alexander, strong against the run. Chauncey Golston, strong against the run. Dexter Lawrence, strong against the run. And the other part to that is, now with those guys being your starting front in that 3-man front, or in an odd man front, I should say, just think about your depth pieces now. So no longer is Nacho your starting defensive tackle next to Dexter Lawrence. He becomes a depth piece, a rotational guy, a role better suited for Nacho. What's the guy? Roy. Was it Roy? I wrote his name down because the guy with the 3 names, I wanted to be respectful. Roy Robinson Harris, right? Yeah, Roy Robinson Harris. He's another guy, quality depth piece. And then, of course, Ledbetter, quality depth piece on that defensive line. So now, if Dexter Lawrence needs a breather, hopefully the defense doesn't collapse. The funny thing is, there's still room for one more player, a guy that's probably a holdover from Shane. Is it going to be DJ Davis, and is it going to be Jordan Riley? I think it's going to be a competition with those guys. I think we keep 6 all together. And again, I'm not quite sure what they do with Chauncey Golston yet. But if Chauncey Golston is listed somewhere else, then you're probably going to see Jordan Riley or DJ Davis, and one of those guys still make the 53, possibly. So I kind of tried to separate these things into categories. So I talked about the key additions, the key additions and the depth. I want to talk about the second-year guys that need to step up. I already started talking about Tyler Nubin. The next guy I want to talk about is Andrew Phillips. We already got a taste of what Andrew Phillips can do. Slot cornerback, aggressive against the run. Heat-seeking missile, physical corner. We already like what we saw with him. I think as fans, as Giants fans, we kind of think we have him figured out as one of those just aggressive inside, nickelback, not nickelback, but slot type of cornerback, right? But he's more than that. He can also give you some outside play in the pinch. I wouldn't want to keep him out there for the long haul, but he also has some versatility. But we already know what his strength is. His strength is in the slot. PFF graded him at a 77. He was one of the top cornerbacks in the rookie class for last year. All I need him to do is stay healthy and continue to grow, continue to learn this defensive scheme and get better. Same thing with Tyler Nubin. I just need him to continue to grow, learn the scheme, and get better. But with that same thing being said, though, Shane Bowen, I keep having to go back to Shane Bowen. Shane Bowen needs to be able to put these guys in a situation where they can excel. Rookies. Next category is rookies. And again, I'm not going to talk about all the rookies. I am going to talk about 2 rookies that I think are going to that we're going to need to make a big impact and that need to contribute right away in order for this defense to be where we want them to be. And that's going to be, of course, the first round pick, Abdul Carter. But even more importantly, in my opinion, Darius Alexander. I already started to talk about the strength of Darius Alexander, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to talk about Abdul Carter for a moment. Everybody has all these expectations for Abdul Carter. I understand that. For me, Abdul Carter is a defensive weapon. I don't want to just say, oh, he's an edge rusher. He's an off-ball linebacker. No, he's going to be lined up all over the place. All over the place. We need to, as New York Giants fans, let me say it again to you guys. As New York Giants fans, we need to accept, because some people are fighting against it. Not saying everybody, but there's some people fighting against Abdul Carter being an off-ball linebacker in certain occasions, which I think is going to happen often, just because of the guys you want to get on the field. You want to get your best players on the field. And no matter how we feel about Kayvon Thibodeau, he is one of the better players on the team. We want all our best players on the field. And if we could get all these guys on the field playing with each other more, that's just an A++ for the New York Giants. But Abdul Carter is a guy that shows flexibility, versatility, brings that energy. We saw him in the rookie camp. Already bringing that energy, even just to a rookie mini camp. Young, has leadership qualities and capabilities. You go ahead, you put him with a Dexter Lawrence, you put him with a Bobby Okereke. Again, people that are gonna allow him to excel, not try to contain, his attitude or anything like that. I just think about the way that the rest of the defense is going to feed off of Abdul Carter, and how Abdul Carter is going to feed off that energy as well. Dexter Lawrence making the plays, Abdul Carter right there. Abdul Carter making plays, Dexter Lawrence right there. Brian Burns making, these guys are going to feed off of each other. It needs to be organic. Don't try to just say, okay, Abdul Carter is going to rush off the edge, 90% of the time. I don't think that's going to happen. I like the inside gap blitz. A gap blitz, B gap blitz. Those things need to be in the repertoire, in my opinion. And Shane Bowen has to know this. He's been around football long enough. He's coached at it. He's coached at this level. He's had success in Tennessee at this level. He knows what he should be doing, and hopefully he just does that, when it comes to the New York Giants. Next thing I want to talk about, guys that need to step up. The guys that need to step up, Tay Banks is number one on my list without a doubt. Some people say, oh, he's going to have a bounce back year. And some people say, what did he bounce back from? Now, if you're not just looking at the grades, when you remember Tay Banks in his rookie season, I remember him making plays. His grades don't reflect it that much, but he was making plays. I remember him and McKinney interacting with each other. And then when he was forced to be the CB1, you saw him get exposed a bit. We saw his weaknesses, not being able to turn his head around. Those things start to happen. Can he fix those things? That's the question that I think a lot of people have for Tay Banks, and he knows it, because a lot of people are saying he can't turn the TV on, or he can't, watch a video. I don't know if he watches any videos, but he knows that the main knock on him right now, as far as what the fans think and some analysts think, is he needs to get his head around. He has the speed, he has the physicality. He's usually right there for the play. He just does not get his head around. And Marquand Manuel, our new defensive secondary coach, I hope, because Jermaine Henderson tried. Jermaine Henderson absolutely tried to get Tay Banks where he needed to be. He cut off his dreads, new hair, who this, I don't know. As long as this guy steps up, the New York Giants will be straight, right? But I will say this. There's some young guys that we picked up in the draft, and Corey Black and O'Donnell Fortune, Cordell Flott. These guys are going to be right there on his heels. So he has to play well. He has to practice well. He has to have a good offseason, training camp, preseason, and all that stuff, because he's going to have some people behind him ready to go. Hawkins as well. Kayvon Thibodeau also needs to step up. He's in a contract, well, not anymore in the contract year, but they picked up his 5th-year option. But prior to that, this would have been a contract year for Kayvon Thibodeau. He has not turned into the guy that we thought he was going to be when we drafted him in 2022. He showed some flashes, but the flashes just aren't quite enough. But he's shown enough flashes that some people like me, we still hold on to that hope. Like, okay, this is going to be that season that he just turns it on, and I hope so. Maybe the addition of Abdul Carter is an extra motivation to him. I remember seeing him on the presser, and he's talking about he's happy to have Abdul Carter, but he understands what the New York Giants having and drafting Abdul Carter means for him. That means if you don't show up, if you don't show up, your replacement is already in the building. And to a lot of people, it's nothing that Kayvon Thibodeau can really do but have an outstanding season in order to try to hold off Abdul Carter. But while we still have both of these guys, we got to try to make it work. I need him to step up. And Bobby Okereke is also on my step-up list, but I don't blame Bobby Okereke 100%. I don't think it's his problem in his lack of play. Obviously, he dealt with the injuries, but before that, his role switched. The scheme, the system switched with going from Wink to Shane Bowen. And we saw what we call a drop-off in the production for Bobby Okereke. Again, he dealt with injuries. He missed some games as well. But even on the field when he was playing, it did not feel the same as the 2023 season. A lot of people like myself, we had him break. He's definitely in the runnings for a Pro Bowl. Is he the best middle linebacker? Outside of Micah Parsons in the division. That's how highly we were thinking about Bobby Okereke, or at least me. And then he had a season where, it kind of fell off, and people thought, you know what, maybe he becomes a cap casualty. He's not worth the price tag. And a lot of people are thinking like that, and he still might be, on that chopping block too. But I think the money is too much to try to cut him. So since we have him, the same thing, since like Kayvon Thibodeau, since we still have Bobby Okereke and we have him for 2 more seasons, let's try to get the best out of Bobby Okereke. But I don't think it was his fault entirely of, the drop in his stats and production. I think the scheme change had something to do with it. And now you have him in a second year, but you also have a battle when it comes to the linebacker room, because last year was just Micah McFadden and Bobby Okereke. That was the duo. Now you got a guy that's entering the room in Abdul Carter, and even though they keep saying, "Oh, he's in the edge room, he's in the outside linebacker room," I saw the middle linebackers coach, was a Grogu, Coach Eggs. I see him peeking, thinking about, okay, yeah, he might be listed as an outside linebacker, but I know once we get him in the game, once the pads are on, this guy's going to be all over the place, and you might see him start to shift rooms, outside linebacker room, middle linebacker room. He's probably going to be all over the place. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the guys that just need to continue to improve. Just need to keep on improving on what they're doing, because right now they're doing a good job in their development. That's going to be Micah McFadden. Now, Micah McFadden has his work cut out for him this year, in my opinion, this offseason, in my opinion, because again, we don't know what's going to happen with Abdul Carter. So with that being said, who's going to be the guy that Abdul Carter takes reps from when he's the off-ball linebacker? Who's coming off the field? Is it Micah McFadden? Is it Bobby Okereke? I think that's the biggest, one of the biggest or the most interesting camp battles that we're going to see, is who's going to be the guy that they take off of the field. And I think, like, if Micah McFadden, another guy in a contract year, he needs to continue to improve. He needs to be able to, clean up some of the missed tackles. And again, that's me nitpicking, because between the 2022 season when he was a rookie to now is night and day. I got a lot of faith in Micah McFadden, but, we'll see what happens with that. And then lastly, Cordell Flott. Cordell Flott's in the contract year too. He consistently has gotten better year after year after year. Super young when we drafted him. He was only 20 years old when we drafted him. I think even right now he's only like 22. No, right now he's like 23 years old. And then I forget when he turns 24, but he's still a young player. But also he has gotten better year after year after year. He's dealt with some injuries as well, but he's made plays in spots. The Minnesota game, he made some plays in spots. Last year in the Cincinnati game, he's covering Jamar Chase for 7 seconds. Good, it was good coverage for about 6 of those 7 seconds. But again, if the quarterback got 7 seconds to find somebody, I don't expect my cornerback to be able to run around with Jamar Chase for that long. We're talking about an all-pro level wide receiver, and Cordell Flott is Cordell Flott. But he shows that he can, he can be there. He's worthy of the rotation. And man, I'm just thinking about this team. Like, we made enough changes for this team to be formidable. We made enough changes and additions to this defense where, when I think about these teams, when I think about this roster and how tough this schedule is, when I'm looking at my defense, I'm not scared of any of these teams. Now, I'm not saying we're going to beat all of these teams because the defense is that good. I'm just saying, as far as the defense goes, I'm not scared of anybody else's offense. That's how much faith I have in this defense right now, the way it's currently constructed on paper. And I'm wondering what you guys think about that as well. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about what this defense is capable of. Because I think this defense is capable of being a top 10 defense for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up being a top 10 defense, but what will it take for us to be in the top 5? That's my question when it comes, to this defense. But that's going to be the video. I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.